Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. I wanted to come to you this evening with a announcement about a new release that's coming out on Tuesday. A new book that's coming out, and it's called Globetrotter: How Abe Saperstein Shook Up the World of Sports by Mark Jacob and Matthew Jacob. Now, earlier this year, I got an advanced review copy, a galley copy of this book, and I've already went through and read it, and I read it for our Summer of Sport reading event that we did this summer, and I love the book. It was a good book, good biography on the man responsible for the Harlem Globetrotters. And a couple of weeks ago, I got in the mail the finished copy. Michelle Blankenship was kind enough to send that to me. It's a naked hardcover, as you can see. Very, very high quality, and it's from Roman and Littlefield Publishers. And again, this comes out on Tuesday, and so you might want to be on the lookout for this one, especially if you're a sports fan. Basketball especially. This would also hit on African American studies or African American sports. And I absolutely loved it. It's 303 pages long. It's a $35 book if you buy the hardcover copy. And I'm going to read to you from the pub sheet so that you know what you're getting into if you are interested. So, many books and articles have been written about the Harlem Globetrotters. But Globetrotter: How Abe Saperstein Shook Up the World of Sports is the first full biography of the man who started it all. At 5'3", Jewish immigrant, Saperstein is not who we might imagine would bring the sport of basketball to the entire world, pioneer the three-point shot, or to befriend the likes of Jesse Owens, Satchel Paige, and Wilt Chamberlain, to name a few. Born July 4th, 1902, in London's Whitechapel slum neighborhood to parents who had immigrated from Poland, Saperstein and his family then immigrated to America in 1906. His first taste of Chicago came in 1907, and it was a love at first sight. And it is there that he eventually formed the Harlem Globetrotters. As the P.T. Barnum of basketball beginning in the late 1920s, Saperstein invented and embellished details of his own life, but authors Mark Jacob and Matthew Jacob masterfully pieced together the facts, warts and all. While unquestionably the reason baseball's Negro Leagues survived, a promoter of international sports and a consistent employer of black employees, Saperstein was certainly a product of his time, at times playing into racial stereotypes and saying racially insensitive things, while also strongly advocating for black athletes and doing much to elevate their status. He is a multifaceted figure, and the Jacob brothers do a fine job of giving readers the full story. His is a life worth examining, and Globetrotter gives this larger-than-life character his due. Here are some things you may not know about Abe Saperstein. The three-point shot was started in Saperstein's American Basketball League. He begged the NBA to expand to the West Coast years before they did. The NBA let the Minneapolis Lakers move to Los Angeles instead of giving Saperstein a new team there. Not only was he involved in basketball, but he also co-owned a Negro League baseball team and promoted the league at a time when it was struggling to survive. He served as a promoter for tennis great Althea Wilson, boxers, and started a lacrosse league. He was Satchel Paige's personal manager. He complained about slow play in baseball, something that the major leagues are just now starting to address more than half a century later. He was decades ahead of his time, suggesting that teams vary ticket prices based on the popularity of the team they were facing. In the early days of the Harlem Globetrotters, he wore a uniform underneath his suit in case he needed to go in as a substitute. Thoroughly researched, rollicking, insightful, and entertaining, Globetrotter tells the amazing life story of a short Jewish immigrant who changed the way the game of basketball is played. So, learn a little bit about our authors here. Mark Jacob is the co-author of 8 books about sports, history, and photography. He is a former Metro editor of the Chicago Tribune and created the newspaper's popular 10 Things You Might Not Know history feature. Jacob's articles have been published in Library Quarterly, Chicago Reader, Chicago Magazine, and Chicago History Magazine. He is a former adjunct professor at Northwestern University. His brother Matthew Jacob is the co-author of What the Great Ate, A Curious History of Food and Fame, with his brother Mark. He started his career as a journalist, working as a sports writer and city council reporter, receiving awards from the Arkansas Press Association. Jacob is a member of the Society of American Basketball Research and has written for such outlets as the Boston Globe, the Detroit Free Press, Los Angeles Times, and the USA Today. Again, this book, Globetrotter, it comes out October 1st of this year. So in just a couple of days, it's going to be a $35 book, hardcover book. And as I said, I've read this one already, BookTube, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I know quite a bit about the history of just baseball, but I didn't know a lot about the history of basketball. And I learned quite a bit from him. And of course, this would also go into your civil rights studies and just all kinds of ways that you can link this into, different avenues for reading about history. And I think the Jacobs brothers did an excellent job here. So thank you, Michelle, for sending this to me. I truly appreciate it. It's going to look good on the shelf. It's like I said, a nice naked hardcover. And so BookTube, I highly recommend you to go get this book and go learn something about the Harlem Globetrotters. So what are you reading right now? What new releases are you going after? Let me know down in the comments section. Thank you for watching, BookTube. And until next time, happy reading.